Horrible news, horrible for Joe Biden in our new CNN poll. While the president leads his Democratic competitors by a huge margin, 2/3 of all of the American people surveyed, 66% of the public, say that a Biden victory would either be a setback or a disaster. David, when it comes to how voters see Joe Biden and another presidential term, I mean, those are some bad numbers.
Well, I mean, just your basic favorability, favorable opinion or unfavorable opinion of Joe Biden. Look at how Americans are rating him, Jake. I mean, 35% favorable, that is remarkably low.
That is the CNN poll, and Jake Tapper laid it out. He did not mince words. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Laid out the fact that the majority of Americans think that if this president is reelected, it just would not be good for the country. And if you think that if this just applies to Republicans out to get Biden, I want you to think again. This headline from March, nearly half of Democrats don't want Biden to run in 2024, a poll finds. So this is not just Republicans who may be on some political retribution tour. This is about Democrats, and it is about independent voters they're just not into him at this point. Yet Democrats within the bubble of Congress and those neoliberals who have power, the brunch bunch, they want to try to ram President Joe Biden down the throats of Americans. They want to disregard what the American people are saying. And so much so that the DNC absolutely refuses to hold primary debates. And as we remember this reporting from the Washington Post on April 20th, the National Democratic Party has said it will support Biden's reelection. There's no surprise there. He is the titular head of the party. That's not the surprise. And it has no plans to sponsor any primary debates. Now that's where they wrong. We know that Marianne Williamson is a candidate in this race, and also Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a candidate so far in the race. Only those two so far on the Democratic side, whole host on the Republican side, but that's what it is. And so for much of mainstream media, and shout out to CNN on this one, but much of mainstream media is acting as though there are no challengers in the Democratic primary. Nothing can be further from the truth. In that same CNN poll, it showed that both Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are in double digits, but yet they act as though nobody is running in the primary. Let's put up a tweet from Marianne Williamson. The DNC plans no primary debates, as though there simply are no other candidates, no other ideas we should discuss about ways to win in 2024, or other ideas we should discuss about ways to repair the country. Too many people are too smart to accept this, and I totally agree with Marianne Williamson on that. And it's obvious because the American people in the polls are showing that they don't like the choices that they have both on the Republican side or the Democratic side in terms of who the front runners are at this moment. And then my stunt double weighed in on this as well. In 2020, the RNC didn't hold presidential primary debates. In 2024, the DNC doesn't plan on having primary debates. Both moves take away from the democratic process. The DNC should hold debates. A reminder that Biden isn't alone in this race. He isn't some king, though he is the king of the neoliberals. RFK Jr. and the aforementioned Marianne Williamson are candidates. And no matter what you feel about them, they deserve the right to have their ideas on display, to let the American people get a taste of how they feel on certain policies and how they would lead. But here we are, where neoliberals are so insistent on squashing any competition that they are ignoring the realities of another Biden term. That reality right now, at least in the eyes of the American people across the board, is that they do not have good choices. They want other choices right now. But it's not just the Democrats. The GOP have their own Trump problems, despite the fact that he is leading the GOP primary by a large margin. This headline from April: most Americans don't want Trump or Biden to run again, a poll finds. So the American people are not pleased with the choices that we have right now in terms of front runners. They're not pleased at all, and they're making it known. But the neoliberals and the Democratic Party, they're trying to pretend like the polls don't exist, that the American people, those pesky American people, what do they know? We're gonna tell them how they should think and feel.
Man, poetically in America, we got two older white men not being able to read the room, and unfortunately, that's what's going down. You know what I'm saying? In the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, the American people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what we see right now is that the illusion of choice makes it where we got the choice between bad and better. That sounds very familiar. It sounds very reminiscent of 16 and 20, and it sounds like 24. So shout out to the older white dudes, and man, hopefully y'all desires of political whatever y'all trying to do don't come at the expense of American people. But man, we finna see right now, it's finna implode.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and President Biden, let's face it. I mean, people mainly voted for him because he was not Trump. That is how he won this election. And now the American people have had almost 4 years, and they're like, well, this ain't quite working for us, because Big Mama and Big Papa are suffering all over this country.